going live again, really to just procrastinate. And I'm probably not going to make a lot of music today, but I got some projects I need to lock in on this weekend. This is going to be a special weekend. Of course, to kick off a special weekend is a special day. Today is February 29th. Jular Music Rev Pretty Black. Thank you for tuning in. This is February 29th. This day only occurs once every 4 years. What's good? What's good? Admiral Land, thank you for tuning in. Wonder Boy Brent, thank you for tuning in. This is a day that only happens every 4 years. Official GIC Music, thank you for tuning in. I'm live right now on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. Happy Leap Day. Yeah, today has just been incredible as far as I had to go to work, which that was the incredible part. I mean, it's incredible to still have a job and pay bills, right? But the opportunities that just came about today that have been seeds that have been planted for the last 2 or 3 years, and how everything is like coming to fruition literally like on this day. Larry Nowlin, Patrol Media, thank you for tuning in. The biggest thing is I got the nominations I needed for to at least be considered to join the Recording Academy. It's a great community to be a part of. A lot of my people, a lot of the friends that I have in the industry have been telling me I need to be part of it. I don't live in LA, so I didn't really see the need to. So, but there is a chapter. I actually know the local president, the DC chapter, and I know the Atlanta chapter president. So it makes sense to be part of it. I've actually been working with the Atlanta chapter president on some apps over the last few years. So shout out to him. Yeah, thank you to the nominations. Shout out to Dominic Ravinius. If anyone needs an incredible drummer, percussionist, he's worked, actually, the last project he worked on, as far as I know, was the Taylor Swift album. So met him through Ken Lewis, Mixing Night with Ken Lewis community. So shout out to Dom. He lives over there in Germany. I don't want to put his whole thing out there, but he gave me a nomination. And then the other nomination I got was from a friend of Eric Iverson. He was like, yo, hit up my boy Jermaine, and he'll get you a nomination if he has one left. So hit up Jermaine, and he locked in, and never even met him, never even had a chat with them. And that is the power of networking. It's just incredible. You can just reach out to people, your friends, people you connect with at these events and different things in the industry, even if it's virtual events. It's like, yo, you know anyone that has this, and people that just come through, and they're people of their word. Sync Spotlight, I'm going to talk about you in a minute. Official GIC Music. I'm working on a music brief from a company that I'm working with. Official GIC, that's dope. I got so many briefs today. What's crazy, I had a bunch of briefs that were like due an hour ago, but because of everything I was working on today, I didn't get to it. So yeah, I had from one specific company, I had like 5 or 6 briefs today. I got some actually that are spread out across the weekend, so hopefully I can get to it. But I got some things coming up this weekend. I'll talk about that in a little bit also. So yeah, first thing, thank you to Dom and thank you to Jermaine for sending me those nominations to be considered to join the Recording Academy. Worst case scenario, I don't get in. I'll find out in the summertime. Will I be upset if I don't get in? No. That's what happens. That's life. I submit to briefs all the time, and for every placement that you get in the sync space, there's probably about 100 placements you didn't get. Lori Geltman, thank you for tuning in. But speaking of communities to be a part of, the Recording Academy is of course a great one to be a part of, but in the sync space specifically, you want to connect with the Guild of Music Supervisors and the Production Music Association, PMA, or the Production Music, PMA. They host a conference, Production Music Conference, every year. I believe GMS hosts a conference also. All these conferences are in LA, so that's why I need to really get out there more. But did have a great time at NAMM last month. So if you are looking for communities to join, of course, join my Facebook group, Syncrets To Success. This is a podcast episode, so this is going to live on YouTube. Check out the links in the YouTube description for joining my Facebook group. It's also sponsored by ASTS. This podcast is sponsored by ASTS, who provides great sounds for us music creators. They have some incredible sounds, and you can use a discount code that will be also in the link for their website. Official GIC Music says, man, they hit me with a late notice, but I'm on track to get that. Yep. And I've talked to a couple companies like, yo, if you get any briefs, and you don't have time for it, just let us know, and we'll, split percentage with you if we have stuff in our catalog. So I definitely want to consider going down that route, because I can't hit every brief that I get. But I definitely know people that might have stuff in their catalog that I can send in, and then just take a small percentage, or a nominal percentage. We'll say it that way. But yeah, shout out to Eric Iverson for the recommendation to get Jermaine to give me a nomination for the Recording Academy. Shout out to Dom Raminius. The other thing, man, I just finished a podcast episode with the director of a film that I worked on. I actually started working on it about 1.5 years ago, and it was released last year. Around August, maybe September, October, somewhere like that. It released last year on streaming platforms. It's called Hemisphere. It's on Amazon Prime Video. It is on Google Play. It is on Tubi. So I did an interview with the director for his podcast. I believe it's going to be his podcast. I don't know when the episode will come out. But we talked about, music, how I compose music for the film. We talked about just my music journey. What's great about this is that soundtrack has been nominated for a Hard Drive Award. Hard Drive is another community that I'm part of, and the Hard Drive Award ceremony will be in April up in New York. So shout out to the Hard Drive community and for nominating my official soundtrack. You can stream the official soundtrack, Hemisphere, on streaming platforms, audio streaming platforms, and then you can watch the film on Google Play, Tubi, or Amazon Prime Video. So that is Hemisphere. So, and be on the lookout for the podcast. I actually have a couple podcasts I interviewed for over the last few months, so those episodes should be rolling out soon. Also, I am finalizing some deals and opportunities, as I mentioned today, because it's February 29th. Not because it's February 29th, but it's just a special day. I've been getting all kinds of great news. And this is, sometimes you got to take the good with the bad. I mentioned this actually to my newsletter group a while ago, but there's always like good news and bad news. And as we're going through, some not so good news, just family wise and medical things, there's always the yin and the yang, things balance out. So got some great news with the Grammy nomination, working on finalizing some opportunities and some deals as a result of going out to NAMM and putting all those panels and then making those connections in the entertainment space, and hoping that that'll be coming to fruition in the next few months. I can't talk about those now, but just making those connections. I haven't even still followed up to the people I met at NAMM, with the people I met at NAMM, just because I've just been doing so many things, got so many projects lined up. I got to do some sample packs. I got to do some trailers. I have to do some plugin reviews for some companies. So making sure I lock those things out. And like I said, reaching back out to people and connecting with people. Also, Sync Spotlight. I don't know if they're still here. Finalizing the details, but I am planning to be in support of the event, stepping into a role as event manager slash show runner, I believe, for Sync Spotlight. If you don't know what Sync Spotlight is, I will talk about it more over the next few weeks. You're still here. If you want to join in, we can do that also. But Sync Spotlight will be going down on March 30th in Atlanta. If you want to check out, go to Sync. They're here. You follow them. Check out the website. And check out information for the panelists that will be there, how you can get tickets, how you can access. It's going to be an all-day conference. You want to be there, especially if you're in Atlanta. I might know some friends down in Atlanta. Definitely tap in. Let your friends in Atlanta know if you can get down there. You want to be in the building for Sync Spotlight. It's going to be incredible. The team there has some Matthew and company. They have some really, really great people lined up: music supervisors, music creators, composers, beat makers, producers, singers, songwriters, artists, sync libraries, sync agents, anything you can imagine in the sync space. And most of them are centered around the southern region, Atlanta. I would say from Virginia and south. So, but especially in Atlanta, centered around the Atlanta area. I have some friends in the Atlanta area, so if I can even get them to get their schedule together, I might see if I can sneak them into the event. So you definitely want to be there. Premise Play, thank you for tuning in. So be on the lookout. I'll do more direct sharing some insights about Sync Spotlight, which will be March 30th down in Atlanta. So exactly 1 month from today, kicking off March 30th. There might even be some things for like people who get VIP tickets, maybe on the 29th, maybe the day after. So go to the site, check out details. Follow Sync Spotlight here, and check out how you can get access in Atlanta March 30th. Yeah, that's basically all I wanted to talk about, because it's just so many things that have been happening just today. And I think the specialtiness of the day, February 29th being, a day that only comes every 4 years. I know some people whose birthday is today, like literally the 29th. I have a coworker whose son, his birthday is today. So, he was asked earlier this week, like, when do you celebrate? On the other years, he's like, we celebrate the 28th and the 1st. It's like, okay, that's, I mean, I get it. But, so yeah, because 29th only happens once every 4 years. So technically, I think his son is like 6 years old, but he's like, whatever, 24, something like that, however the math works out. At some future point, I won't talk about it today. I am going to talk about AI. Actually, I literally just got an agreement from a company that I work with. They updated their agreement with some AI language in there to make sure their composers comply with how they are going about the AI space. Kevin, thank you for tuning in. The other thing is I've been, Premise Play, thank you for tuning in, trying to perfect my trailer music sound. So I have some courses that I've taken over the years. I'm going to revisit them. There was one by Michael Moss that I took. I want to revisit that one. I did one by Alex Pfeffer. I want to revisit that one. I've heard some great things about some of the Evident courses and some of the other ones But I feel like, my sound is there, but I feel like I can go even a little bit further. So I want to revisit some of the courses I've already taken, make sure I didn't miss anything. And also when I take these courses again, when I rewatch something, you know how you watch a movie and you see something different, like every time, it doesn't matter. You could have watched a movie 100 times, and every time for 100 times, you see something different, 100 different little things that you didn't notice, the first 99 times. So that's how it is when you take courses. So I definitely want to dive back in. Some of these courses though, like I think that Alex Pfeffer one is like 30, 40 hours. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna sit through that. The Michael Moss one is like 4 hours. I'm like, yeah, I can knock that out in the weekend. So I want to go dive back in on those courses. I might do that, this weekend. Coyvin, thank you for tuning in. Because I see I get so many opportunities where it's like on the trailer site was like, send the stems, send these alt mixes. I'm like, okay, something's about to happen here, and then crickets. Or I get on albums. I worked on 18 albums last year. It's like, okay, some of them did get into sync, but I'm really aiming for these trailers. The film that I scored, Hemisphere, is technically the first trailer that I did, because I did the trailer for the film also. So that is, I do have a trailer experience credit, if you want to call it that. But aiming for the ultimate goal is that Disney trailer, and it's really hard to cut through the Disney. On the trailer side, I've done the theme parks. It's like, okay, maybe I can start getting into even sync on some shows. But it's like, man, I'm trying to get to that trailer. That's like that next wall I'm trying to break through. Okay, if you have any questions, drop them here. I'll be on for a few more minutes, and then I'm gonna go. If you are on Instagram, you want to go to YouTube, check out the Syncrets To Success podcast. That is a podcast where I do things like this to talk about sync. I am at some point, maybe in life, going to convert these episodes into, Spotify and Apple and those other podcast platforms, but I'm not there yet. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I have a lot of things. So this weekend, we have a lot of celebrations coming up. My wife and I will be celebrating 20 years of marriage on Sunday. So Black love exists in the world. And then on Monday, our son will be 16 years old. So a lot of celebrations coming up. So I doubt I'll be making a lot of music. We'll be partying and doing whatever we're going to do this weekend. So I might not be making a lot of music this weekend. So I'm going to try to knock out some things tonight. I'm honestly tired tonight because I like I said, been news, back-to-back great news all day. And I will make some music, but it's going to be probably bedtime production. Taking my system up to my bed and making some beats before I fall asleep, because it's been one of those days. But yeah, stay tuned for more details on Sync Spotlight. I think that's the next big thing that I can talk about coming up schedule-wise as far as music production. Of course, the wedding, our anniversary is the next big thing. But Sync Spotlight March 30th. So I will talk more about that. You definitely want to be in the building. If you are in Atlanta, I'm going to tag some of my Atlanta. I'm going to get some of my Atlanta people, make sure they are aware of this event also, and see if I can get you in there. But get the tickets. It's worth the investment to invest in yourself. Like I said, I have these courses, invested in courses. And as music creators, we're investing in sounds. We're investing in plugins. We're investing in learning our DAWs. We're investing time, some cases away from family, away from going out partying, away from doing other things to chase the dream. Joshua B91, thank you for tuning in. So we're investing in all these things. So why not invest in attending these events? When you go to these events in person, like I said, I'm working on a big, I would say, so far in my career, I consider Disney the biggest opportunity working on Disneyland. I think this, when this thing comes to, in my mind, this will be bigger than, nothing's bigger than Disney, but this will be opportunity-wise, and what it can lead to, in my mind, could be at least at the same level, if not bigger than Disney, because of what it is and what it entails. With Disney, I got the footage and I was able to compose from it, like literally from this room, and work on that whole project. And then I got to go see it, at Disneyland, which was kind of cool. That does exist. But this, this is a whole different experience. So if I can talk about it, even when it's done, there are some things that we do in life as creators that you sign an NDA, you can never talk about it. So I have some of those projects also. And it's a shame because it's like, man, I can't list this credit. I can't list that I did this thing. For better or worse, I guess it's almost like a wedding, for better or worse in the sync space. There's some things you cannot talk about. I can talk about Disney. Disneyland. I worked on music for an attraction called Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. It's been at Disneyland for about 60 years. I didn't work on the original music because I'm not 60 years old. But they were updating it last year as part of Disney 100. So about a year and a half ago, around October, November 2022. Some people at Disneyland got hold of a project I released on streaming platforms called I think it was the Neoclassical Trailer Project, and got to the hands of people at Disneyland theme parks or Disney theme parks. And they were like, hey, we're looking for a Black composer to work on music for this attraction we are updating because it's telling the story of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. Are you interested? And I was like, yes, I'm interested. And literally made the music in like a weekend. So the some of the easiest for what that project was and what yeah, it was great. It was incredible. And then of course working with Disney. So now I'm a Disney vendor, so it's easier to work on Disney projects. So once you start working with these companies, it's like, okay, you are a vendor in our system now. So once you get one project in, it's like, oh, okay, you have anything else you want me to work on? I'm already a vendor. Just let me know. Send me some footage. Send me whatever you're working on, and let's chat. So yeah, Disney Premise Play Disney is where it's at. Kalia's House of Magic. Thank you for tuning in. You reminded me I need to tap back in with the Realm because man, they owe me a chat. So I got to tap back in with the Realm crew. Another community. I'm part of so many communities, and that's partly why I always have music to make. I'm part of so many communities. I work with a lot of sync libraries. I work with a lot of trailer libraries. Literally yesterday, my first, not my first, it was released as part of a trailer library I work with, but sound effects that I created for an album was released, and it was part of this 8-bit sound effects album that a trailer library was releasing. So want to dive more into sound effect, creating sound effects. I already have sound effects that I've created. I just was using them on my own stuff. So now it's like, hey, why not, see if I can flip them and change them and make them, available for people to use in movies and stuff. So yeah, so fingers crossed. Hopefully that stuff lands on some great things. Yeah. So all the things happening. I've been seeing a lot of briefs for those interested in what's going to be trending. Super Bowl's done, so that's done. You might be able to tap into some March Madness stuff, but sports will always be, in demand, especially like high energy, upbeat sports. But I've been seeing a lot of requests for uplifting music for the Olympics because it's an Olympic year. I work with one library that has a unique hold on a specific space I can't talk about yet. Hopefully I can talk about it one day, but did a project for them 2 weeks ago. But then you have to think about what's happening in the sync space, what's happening on the calendar. So you have Olympics this year. So start making those Olympic type music, make them anthemic music, similar to what you would do for sports, but also make it uplifting type vibes. I have a project with an incredible singer called Maya Lamaya is her name. That's cinematic vocals, but it's uplifting cinematic vocals. So I'm hoping that lands on some incredible Olympic spots. You also have a political year. This is an election year. So if you work with libraries and there's no morality clause in there, maybe look at your agreement. Are you going to be opposed if the Democratic candidate or the Republican candidate, that we're going to be bipartisan here, or the independent candidate wants to use your music and they want to pay you, $10,000 to use your music on their political campaign? Are you going to turn that down? Those are things to consider from your point of view. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are endorsing said candidate, but it's like, hey, your music, will you brag about your music if it's placed on a specific candidate's campaign? You got to think about these things in the sync space. Girl named Nino, thank you for tuning in. So yeah, that's it. I think that's all I have. If you have any questions, drop them in. I'll probably stay on for a couple more minutes. Drop them in the comments. The next sync event that I am officially going to be part of, once the ink dries, will be Sync Spotlight, which will be in Atlanta on March 30th. And if I'm part of an event, it's definitely official. You've seen NAMM the last 2 years. If you were at AES last year, and some things coming up this year, next year, that those events are ones you want to be at. You want to be there. You want to network. You want to get the names and the contact info of these sync agents, sync libraries, music supervisors, these collaborators, your other producers, your other engineers, your musicians, your singers, your songwriters, your rappers. You want to start building your list. I have a Facebook community called Syncrets To Success of 1,700 members. I have my own directory of artists I can reach out to. What's the Atlanta girl named Nino? It's called Sync Spotlight. I should have created it before I went live. I'm going to create a thing where you can comment Sync Spotlight and it'll just DM you all the information. I'll talk about it more, but they have an Instagram page called Sync Spotlight. all spelled correctly. Ramo 7, thank you for tuning in. So that is the event in Atlanta. Are you in Atlanta? Tell all your Atlanta friends to be there too. Go to, I believe it's going to be an Eventbrite page you can go to, and you can see who's going to be there, some of the panelists, and when I tell you some of the heavy hitters, creators, and music supervisors and libraries. So, and I am stepping into the role as showrunner and event manager for that event. So you want to be at Sync Spotlight in Atlanta on March 30th. Or that weekend. So definitely tap in if you can. Truth Falls Audio, thank you for tuning in. And again, starting this, building this personal brand of being an event organizer, event planner, specifically in the sync space. You've seen, or maybe you haven't seen, but what I've done, bring in 2,000 people out to NAMM this year to check out the 3 panels that I organized and hosted. 3 sync panels. I actually worked on it was supposed to be 7 panels, but it ended up being like 5 panels for NAMM this year. But 3 of them, those are sort of my 3 sort of babies. And as a that was a follow up to the NAMM panel last year, which was epic, which led to obviously imitators in the space that tried their best. I am Onishan. Thank you for tuning in. Girl named Nino. Yes, thank you. NAMM was incredible. So the thing about NAMM in these events is, so far all the panels I've put together, they have turned people away at the door. The room hits capacity, and last year we had the issue. This year we had the issue, especially with the 3rd panel where it was in a smaller room. They had to turn people away at the door. So apologies for those who bought a ticket to NAMM to be in those rooms and couldn't make it in. Hopefully, if things align well next year, we'll be in the biggest room for however many panels I want to do. And I already have ideas for so many panels. I have panelists lined up that are ready to do whatever and talk about whatever. There are things that I didn't execute on this year. Obviously, I had Usher's mix engineer lined up to be at NAMM, and of course it was subject to his availability, but due to rehearsing for the Super Bowl, he couldn't make it. So shout out to him though. Incredible engineer. Shout out to him to just be like, yo, just give me a call after I hit him up on like an Instagram like DM. A lot of these people are reachable. A lot of these people, maybe not directly, you might not be able to reach to Usher or Beyonce or Jay-Z or Taylor Swift or Drake, or pick your insert favorite artist here directly, but their teams, their engineers are the ones going to these events. They're going to NAMM. They might be at Sync Spotlight if they're based in Atlanta. If I can invite some people out there. So you go to these events, you show face, and then you see them. I saw one person, Danger. Shout out to Incredible Lago, Danger Hands Engineer. I saw her like 3 or 4 times in 1 year because she was Full Sail alum, but then she was also at the Full Sail Hall of Fame that year, and then I think at AES, and then at NAMM. So you start seeing the same people at 3 or 4 different events, or even every year. It's like NAMM the last couple of years. London Elixir, is London Elixir here? London is London, you are a panelist at Sync Spotlight. So girl named Nina, are you in Atlanta? If you are in Atlanta, I'm gonna set up that automation so that you can just comment Sync Spotlight, and then I'll send you the information. I don't even think, if London is here, I believe London is a panelist, and I don't even think London knows yet that I am going to be the event manager. Chicago, okay. Yeah, if you can make it to Atlanta, great. If not, hopefully some of these things can move around the country. You are now free to move about the country. Adam, I need to follow up with you also. Shout out to Adam. Met him. Adam, was it the first night of NAMM? Met him at the Vintage King party at NAMM. Shout out to NAMM, man. Made so many connections. I still have not. We are a month after NAMM, and I still haven't gone through all the business cards and contacts that I got from NAMM as I'm finishing up other projects, and then projects just pile on top of other things. Like I said, this weekend, my wife and I celebrating 20 years of marriage. Our son's birthday, 16-year-old birthday for our son on Monday. So just things just pile up in life. But Adam, I definitely need to link up with you. M Dollar Bill, thank you for tuning in. Yeah, there's so many things happening. And then, of course, all the things happening today because, oh, no, you said you've been sick. Oh, man, I hope you feel better. All the things that have happened just for me today, just all the messages I've been getting, confirming things with Sync Spotlight, some of the other projects that I'm working on that, for me personally, I believe could be life-changing once those finalize. But most of that stuff has been as a result of Some of it as a result of NAMM. Some of it, like the film I mentioned earlier, that was the director of the film used to work where I work at National Geographic. So the director of the film used to work there. And I was posting my music there, and he was like, "Hey, I'm working on this film. I need a composer. Do you want to work on the film?" I was like, "Yeah." So next thing I know, did the film like October. I composed music October of 2022, and then he finished finalizing the film and everything, and me and him and some of the crew went out for lunch or dinner last summer. And he was just telling us about some future films he wanted to work on. And the next thing I know, around August, I believe last year, maybe even a little later, he was like, "Hey, the film is now on Amazon Prime." And then a couple months later, he's like, "It's on Tubi now." And then like a couple weeks later, it's like, "It's on Google Play now." So the film is making its rounds. It's doing festival runs. And it's a low budget film for what he was able to do with low budget. The film is called Hemisphere. I did the soundtrack for the film. The soundtrack is nominated for a Hard Drive Award. Hard Drive is another community that I'm part of, and the soundtrack is out on streaming platforms. So everything in this, I'm getting all this information, literally a lot of it today. Some of it was this week, but I attribute it to, of course, to God. I'm a religious person. I used to play in church, so shout out to God for all the blessings. And then I think this day, the February 29th, like that's this weird day that only happens, every 4 years. Just all the blessings coming our way. Truth Falls Audio, thank you for the congratulations and the birthday wishes for our son Adam. Thank you for the anniversary wishes and birthday wishes. As I mentioned, 20 years. I was, as of when Sunday hits, when our anniversary hits, I will be married more than half of my life, and that is obviously not a complaint. That is like that is a blessing. Because I know a lot of people like my age who've been married 3-4 times, or married and divorced. Yeah. So yeah. Thank you, girl named Nino. So the next milestone, the big goal for me, a big musical goal that I'm chasing, which is why I want to go back and look at these courses that I have, because I now have a new perspective I can watch these courses from. I feel like I'm getting close to these trailer placements, these blockbuster trailers, but I'm missing something. There's some element that I'm missing. It's like I got the sounds, I think I got the mixes. There's something that I feel like that needs to take this to the next level, and it might have to do with like layering and things. And of course, I have a lot of friends that are landing these placements like every other month, and I'm like, "How are you doing this?" So not being impatient, but knowing that there's an element somewhere that I'm missing. And how do you get that element in there? It could be, what I would love is, hey, here's sending a pack of instrumentals, trailers that I started to those established composers and saying, "Hey, would you collaborate on this?" And we split 50-50. And you do your thing and take it to that level where I believe it can go, but it's not getting there for some reason. Or if they don't want to do 50-50, if there's a way to bring a big composer, like, "Hey, I will, if I can get a budget, pay you a couple hundred if you want to take this to the next level. And if you don't want part of it." But I like the 50-50 split because I don't have to pay anything up front. It's like, hey, a lot of those guys already have connections. They're landing the placements. I can learn from them. So that might be my next move, is like, hey, sending a track to someone and say, "Hey, are you interested in working on this or help me get this to the next level?" So yeah. But yeah, that's all I have. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'm gonna get out of here in a little bit. Like I said, I want to work on maybe one music idea. I'll probably pass out tonight. And then have a lot of stuff I need to work on tomorrow. I have a lot of projects lined. I want to get some things done before we start celebrating this weekend, like anniversaries and stuff and birthdays. Because I know once late Saturday hits, I'll probably not focus on music for at least for a couple of days, because why would I? Gotta focus on the family. But yeah, so all the great things happening. Again, this is a episode. I've been missing I haven't been looking at my YouTube. I don't know if any comments have been coming on YouTube. I don't think so. But this is an episode of the podcast. Check out Syncrets To Success on YouTube. That is the name of the podcast, Syncrets To Success. Check out the Syncrets To Success Facebook group. We're getting close to 2,000. Once we hit 2,000, I want to do a discussion, or not a discussion, go live in the group, specifically for the group, and hopefully I can get some plugin developer friends to give some plugins that I can give away in the group. So stay tuned for all that. Until then, Sync Spotlight, March 30th. I will share more information about that maybe this weekend, if I get those posts scheduled and set up. but I haven't posted music in a while. I've been doing these sync tips. I think I have 3 more, and then I'll be done with the sync tips. And then I've been making music, but a lot of it I can't post because I'm making for either for briefs or for trailer companies. But still been making music. I make music every day, so that is the gift and the curse of being music creator. The official disher, thank you for tuning in. I think I mentioned earlier. So some key takeaways from today. I got my nomination in, application in. Thank you to those who nominated me for the Recording Academy. So fingers crossed, I'll find out in the summer. I will talk about AI in a future episode. AI, like if you haven't seen what Tyler Perry, his statements on AI and why he's halting the $800 million expansion for his studios. Yeah, AI is crazy, and all of us, we should have been worried a year ago, but AI has taken over. So when you see what it's doing, you know what it's doing in photography space. You see what it's doing in the video space, and I've seen some things in the music space. It's like, yeah, this is insane. David Harrison, thank you for tuning in. And then what else did I have over here? Sync Spotlight, I mentioned. Hard Drive Award. Shout out to whoever nominated the soundtrack for Hemisphere for being album of the year or release of the year, whatever it's nominated for. I should know what it's nominated for. But for the Hard Drive Awards, and of course finalizing all the fun stuff from NAMM. I got to follow up with all my NAMM contacts. That'll be a goal. And of course, like life being life, wedding anniversary, son's birthday, our daughter's a senior, she's graduating this year, scholarships, college trips, that's a bar right there. Yeah, everything is just happening in life. So trying to balance all that. I also do work full time. I like to say that. Not I like to say that. That's what's happening. I work full time, set expectations, to pay bills, take care of family, while focusing on and pursuing the dream and the goal of, getting to music and licensing and placements. I was going through my BMI statement from the one that just came out last week, 2 weeks ago, and just realizing, because I don't look at my statement, like I probably should start analyzing it more. But like a lot of the stuff on my statement is from stuff that was placed like forever ago. Like we're talking real world road rules. Like if you don't know what that is, yeah, that's how old it is. So it's stuff that's playing like in other countries, like in Brazil or something, but they have reruns on like Hulu or Paramount. And then there's some new placements. There was Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, stuff that I don't know about that I should probably start documenting and putting like on IMDb. Then there's stuff that I do know about from when libraries tell me like, hey, you got music on basically every episode of Catfish this season. But I won't. The gift that I talked about, the shady side of Sync the last time I went live. But another gift and curse about Sync is if you work with a library, you might get a placement today, but you might not know about it for another 9 months. So it's like, okay. Luckily, this library told me, back in December, they're like, hey, basically you're getting music on every episode of Catfish. If they didn't tell me that, I wouldn't know probably until, if that's December, probably until August, September at the earliest this year. I'll see a statement. It's like, okay, that's like, imagine this whole Sync. It's great being in Sync, but finding out like 9 months later, a year later, 2 years later. Do you ever wonder why, if you follow people in the Sync space, they're like, oh, just got confirmation I got this, I landed music in this scene on this show that came out a year ago. It's like, I don't even remember that show. So hopefully this AI and blockchain or whatever can help speed up the confirmation process of placements. That way we can be a little bit more in time. It's like, hey, a show airs tonight without me having to watch it. It's like, oh, I got music on that show. I can talk about it because it's like trending right now, instead of waiting 6 months when people forgot about it because they're talking about the show that comes out 6 months from now. So yeah, Sync agents, sometimes they have a little bit more direct relationship. And of course, if you work with the music supervisor directly, you have that one-on-one, you're landing it. Anyway, this isn't, I wasn't supposed to go down that lane. Immaculate, thank you for tuning in. If anyone needs a great mixing engineer, hit up Immaculate. She's incredible. November James, a credible composer in the trailer space. In November, I was just saying, man, I got to up my trailer game because I feel like I'm getting so close to these opportunities. Literally, at least once a month, it's like, okay, send the stems, send these alt mixes for trailers specifically. It's like, okay, it's gonna happen. It's like, nope. So technically, yes, I do have one trailer under the belt, but that is the film that I composed also. So I'm sort of like a double whammy. I did the trailer and did the film composed the soundtrack. The soundtrack's available. Soundtrack's nominated for an award. The film's been nominated for several awards at independent film festivals. The film is streaming on Google Play, Amazon Prime Video, and Tubi. So yeah, I got the sounds. I just gotta. There's that one thing that I feel like that I'm missing. So I'm gonna go back over these trailer courses that I have, um, and just be like, okay, what is that element I'm missing? And then hopefully I might dive into a new course because I've heard some great things. I might do another. I'll do another chat on courses, and what you can learn from being in these communities, learning from these sync things. Years ago, I did a bunch of masterclass courses on the masterclass site. The Hans Zimmer one, of course, the Usher one, the Stephen Curry one. I did about 12 of them. The Shonda Rhimes one. Shonda Rhimes was incredible. My favorite course. I'll talk about that in another episode. My favorite masterclass course, which has nothing to do with music, and it might surprise you. But I did the Hans Zimmer. I did the Danny Elfman, like all the composers. I did the. There was a jazz guy. Who was it? Herbie Hancock one. Timbaland, of course, did that one. So yeah, I did a lot of the music courses, but then also did some of the other sides of things. Official Gilly D, thank you for tuning in. Did some of the other courses on Masterclass to learn the different aspects. And when you do like the Spike Lee course or the Shonda Rhimes course, and you're learning how they do things, this will affect. If you're a music creator, or if you're in other, you got to learn how to take elements from one industry and apply it to whatever you're doing. Not everything, will, of course, will work. Like lighting might not matter to me if I'm making music, but how they're using light in a scene might affect the music that I underscore that scene with. If I'm doing, composing music directly for picture, which is usually in I see that more, obviously, if you're the composer for a film, or I see that a lot in the advertising space, not necessarily in sync and definitely not in trailers. I think in trailers, I've gotten one time where I've gotten the picture, and that was because the trailer was locked and they couldn't use the music that was locked to the trailer. Where I've gotten the actual picture of the trailer that they wanted, and they wanted to hit some certain points. One time over, I don't know how many trailers I've done so far. But yeah. All right, I'm out of here. I gotta rest the voice. Not really for anything, but I got some music I gotta work on tonight. Pass out doing that, and then got some music I want to lock in on tomorrow, and then celebrating this weekend, 20th wedding anniversary, son's 16th birthday on Monday. So a lot of things to be grateful for in life, to thank God for the blessings, and then a lot of opportunities in the music space that, like I said, seeds planted from years ago that are coming to fruition. So thank you to everyone who's been supportive. Thank you to everyone who, whether you are new or not, thank you to the haters, those who have done wrong, because that has been inspiration for some other things also. So is it wrong to be grateful for people who've done you wrong? Maybe. In some cases, yeah. I don't know. I'm just rambling. So check out my last live. I don't know if this, I might delete that from Instagram. It is on YouTube and LinkedIn. It'll live on YouTube. Mr. Watt says, yo, Mr. Watt, what's going on? I've just been ranting for the last 40 minutes. So if you want to rewatch this, if you are on Instagram, again, quick recap before I get out of here. Hard Drive Awards, my soundtrack for Hemisphere is nominated. I got my application in today for the Recording Academy. Not having high hopes for it, but you never know. I'll find out this summer if I'm in or not. You'll see the post if I make it. Miss Sneaker Doll, thank you for tuning in. Finalizing some details for some projects that came as a result of hosting the panels at NAMM. So shout out to those people and those people who have been taking advantage of those opportunities. And then for people who've been reaching out for other opportunities, Aaron Cruz, shout out to Aaron Cruz, who was the videographer for NAMM. So what's great about NAMM is you can rewatch some of the things that were streamed on the app, but today is literally the last day you can watch. So I was binge watching today, like literally all the marketing stuff, binge watching the some of the sync stuff on the app. So I think I still have time to finish that up. So Aaron was actually the videographer, so he's sending me the footage that he captured. And then once I figure out, I've been diving in on like Opus Clip. Again, I'm going to do a whole nother episode on AI, some of the tools that I use, how I use them. I might not necessarily show them. Showing them might be like a webinar or something. But I'll talk about them on the podcast. So and then also I want to get back into doing like the webinars and workshops where if you are interested, you pay, you come, and I'm going to show you how I go about making trailer music. Even though I just said I want to get them to the next level, I still get them to a decent level. So I'm always learning. But people are like, hey, how do you at least get to where you are? My phone is at low battery, so that's a good sign to stop. But I'm gonna get back into doing the networking webinars live. I want to get back into doing the composing music live webinars for people. So be on the lookout for advertisers for that. As I mentioned, I am also the ink is drying, but joining the Sync Spotlight, which will be a live event in Atlanta on March 30th, and I will be stepping in as event manager and showrunner for that. So if you have any questions about that, I'll be posting more about that also. Sync Spotlight in Atlanta, March 30th. You want to be down there. Some big music supervisors, big as in big in stature, big in their qualifications and projects they work on, not big in like size. But yeah, I'm rambling. And then some panelists, I believe 4 or 5 of the panelists were panelists that I also had at NAMM. So you'll see some familiar faces, including London Elixir, who someone mentioned earlier. Yeah, so it's going to be incredible. Sync Spotlight. There'll be some music supervisors, some music creators, singers, rappers, songwriters. If I can get some friends that I know in the Atlanta area, Usher probably won't pull up, but maybe I can get someone from Usher's camp to show up. I don't know. There's no promises, but at least I plan to be there live. I don't believe it'll be streamed or recorded, so you have to be in the building for that one, for that face-to-face interaction. Pause. All right. My battery is low on my phone, so before this thing dies and it'll mess up my whole Instagram stream, have a good night and probably weekend, everyone. Like I said, I got to get ready for celebrations this weekend, and then getting ready to get some music out before the weekend kicks off, because I know once the weekend hits, happy anniversary to the missus. 20 years on Sunday. We'll be married. Our son will be 16 on Monday. So yeah. Yeah, Mr. Watt says Nelson is in ATL. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I got to see, I don't know if he's on that. I got to look at the Sync Spotlight schedule to see who the panelists are. I don't know if he's on the panel, but I need to catch up with Nelson because I haven't talked to him in probably a couple months. I didn't catch up with you, Mr. Watt. We got to catch up. So yeah, be safe and be well, everyone. Have a good night or morning or evening or whenever you watch this. Have a good whatever time of day it is. Be safe and be well. All right. Go to thefingaz.com. Check out services I offer, trailerizations, sample packs. The networking webinar is on there at thefingaz.com. Check that out. Also, go to Syncrets To Success, Syncrets To Success on Facebook. Check out the Syncrets To Success Facebook group. If you have any questions about Sync, check that out. All right. Getting out of here. Have a good night, everyone, and peace.